Now, I would have liked to incorporate themes of war and farming into this intro for Scythe, but if you look around, it's the middle of winter, and I live in nowhere, Wisconsin. Now, my friends are, at their jobs, and so I don't have much to work with. But what I do have is a whole lot of wood. Oh, do you hear that? What's that? Hello? Oh, why hello, traveler and animal companion. I am a lumberjack. I live in these woods, and I also chop them down for a living. You have 3 options from here. That's it. Don't think about it too much. You could give me a hand with my work here and maybe have a brew or two. It'd be a pretty good time. That sounds pretty good, actually. Maybe. Get also pay me some money, and I guess I'll build you a house. Got plenty of wood. So, tell me, $5 that'll buy me a house? That's pretty good. All right, okay. And your third option, you take this lighter, and then you threaten to burn my whole life's work down. So if you're gonna do that, here you go. And I'm gonna crack this open if you don't mind. Just do it. You'll get some wood. So, are you asking me to do this? Yeah. Scythe is a small game of civilization for 1, with the help of an automated opponent, to 7 players. Everyone will be controlling their own country with their own personalized pieces. Germany, Poland, Russia, Crimea, and Scandinavia are all represented out of the box. Britain, and surprisingly Japan, come in an expansion to compete over the map of Eastern Europa. And what a map it is! It's huge and intricately detailed if you really get down and look at it. This mountain tunnel has little flashers on it. And here we have an erupting volcano with a little town nearby. It's just beautiful. And the art for this game is simply astounding. Jacob Rosalski did a phenomenal job in his work, depicting an interwar period with small snow villages, or here's some normal men just working on a giant robot, or country life, or just hanging out with your animal companion. That's a thing that happens a lot. Here's the bear companion, for example. And it just never ends. I mean, look. Here's an adorable bear waving to another adorable bear, and you can make the bears play together in the snow. Or it could just be the type of player that really is honest with themselves and says, Sam, I'm a man that wonders about mechanics, not art. I'm not obsessed with Japanese samurai, mechs that look like divas. I need to know what this game is made of. And you would be right to do so. This game, just like real life... Oh! Or maybe just the 4th grade revolves around getting stars. And it's not necessarily the person who gets the most, but the game does end when you get 6. You will be asking, But Sam, how do I get stars? This track at the top of the game board, indicated with the star, keeps track of your achievements throughout the game. Now you get a star for things like being the most popular, or building all 4 of your fighting robots, or even just becoming an oil baron. I'm finished! And the best part of the game is that you play how you want to. It doesn't tell you how. You only have to do 6 out of 10 of these to end the game. And even if you don't end the game, you might still win. Now the game, or your player mat, more or less, is made up of 2 boards. One of them is your faction board, so in this case we have the Nordic kingdoms here. And this is assigned randomly. Everyone always has 4 robots with varying abilities underneath them that are the same or different depending on who you are. A starting military power, a starting combat card, and an ability. In this case, our little workers can swim across rivers right out of the gate. Normally they can't do that. And then the other half of it, with much more stuff on it, is our player board. And what that means is there are a whole bunch of these. Look, a whole bunch of these big meaty boards, which all your stuff fits into, corresponding to your color. And these change, more or less, which actions are on the top and bottom. Now there's 4 of each total. And different boards will have different combinations and different prices. So there's a lot of variability, depending on where you start with. If you look, the Nordic countries start with a worker on an oil and a worker in a forest. It might screw up what your game plan is with your board. Maybe your production space doesn't line up with building a robot space. And this variety keeps it interesting and also makes it strategic. I know a lot of this stuff. I haven't even touched yet in this review, so it could be a bit cryptic. Every turn, we're going to go around. We're going to take our little pawn here that marks which action we've done and put it on one of our 4 options, indicating that that's what we're going to do. It also helps us indicate next turn that we've done that action. You cannot do the same one twice in a row, which is why this is here. And so let's say we do this one first turn, which is produce on 2 spaces with workers. That's what that little thing means, more or less. All the stuff up here, don't really worry about. But in our case, we would get 1 wood and 1 oil. Now the goal of the game is to get the most money by the end, and everyone starts with a certain amount, usually around 5 or 6, and you can gain it or lose it by trading for more resources or boosting your military strength. But the most amount of money you'll get is at the end of the game, once we start scoring on the popularity track. If you look at the different sections over here, popularity, unlike some sort of make-believe contest in high school, I guess it's kind of similar to that. The more you have, the more your things are going to be worth. Whether that's the amount of stars you have, whether that's the number of spaces you control, or whether that's the number of extra resources you just have lying around at the end, like a hoarder or a redneck man with an old car in his backyard. Being higher up on the popularity track multiplies that more or less, and if you get to the very top, you get a star for it. You get that medal for being the most popular girl at the county fair, and you can take it home and put it on your fridge. And what do you do with that? One of my personal favorite parts of the game is these little red compass needles here. Once you get your character man, in this case this dude's riding an ox, once you get him, walk all the way to one of these, and only him, not one of your little guys, not one of your workers, not one of your robots, only he can do these. You take this off the board, and you reach all the way across the table, probably bump over a few drinks, and you get one of these encounter cards where you try not to get glare on it, where you, as a player, gets to make a choice, and there's a
picture, and it kind of paints a little story. But you get to pick one of these 3 things at the bottom. So you and your bear, in this case, can help people plant some crops and get some stuff. You can help them unstick their plow, or you can just be an asshole and get a lot of stuff for it, but you're going to pay for it. I find this thing is definitely more theme related than anything. It can definitely help you in a tight spot, and everyone always wants to grab these. There's 11 of them throughout the board in different spaces. But I find this really helps with world building.
One of the most important aspects of the game, I shouldn't say important, but definitely a polarizing aspect. Some people like it, some people hate it. I think it's pretty, I think it's balanced. I think it's strategic. It's not random. Is combat. Combat happens when one or more combat units, so the plastic ones meaning your robots or your characters, move into a space with each other. And multiple combats can happen. People can at the same time, but you resolve them in the attacker's order. And like I said, I mentioned those combat cards earlier. There's different distributions of them. They range from 2 power to 5 power, with the more powerful ones obviously being less common. What ends up happening is you get to, if you wish, choose a number of combat cards equal to your minis here. And then you take this wheel. Now this is the amount of your standing military power, way over here, that you wish to spend. And it's a combination of your card and military power. And this is done secretly, by the way. Card and military power you wish to spend in order to win or lose that battle. Now in this case, I made everyone go all out with 6 each. If you look. And attackers win ties. So it kind of encourages fighting despite everyone wanting to hoard their resources and they're afraid of counterattacks and stuff like that. But honestly, when it comes to this combat, it's more of a Cold War-esque, it's all about stances and negotiations a bit. Oh, can I go there? I'll pay you $1 if you move off here. Or just a mad rush at the end of the game trying to get those last 2 stars, because there are 2 stars for combat. Just trying to beat each other up and end the game. For those of you who own the game or know a friend or played it a couple times, you know that I've skipped over a few things, and that's by design. I don't want to give away everything. I think learning a game and all the intricacies is part of the experience, and I think you should have that to yourself. But this isn't a Euro game. It's not an Ameritrash game. It's a good compromise between the two. And as long as you're not like an ADD child, I think you'll like it a lot. It is large. It does take a little while. Not as long as like Dominant Species. It's not 3 hours of your time, but it's probably a good 2 hours. And I like to think that people can sit around a table and can hold conversations with each other while still focusing on the game. But I'm realizing more and more that that's a fantasy, and that when someone takes out their phone, they're stuck for 4 minutes doing whatever. But that's just a dream of mine, is that a functioning, flowing atmosphere is possible, but it might not be. I have to say the quality of the miniatures is amazing. I'd like to paint mine someday, but that's a lot of work and I don't really like painting. I'm okay at it, but I don't like it. And it comes with a lot of stuff. Like I said, I didn't get to the factory in the middle of the map and what that does for you, or all these miniatures, or they sell an expansion, like I said, with more of them, so you can fit all 7 factions in here.
and I played it with 7 people, and it's fantastic. It's a brawl throughout. I mean, here's a baggie full of cards. That I didn't talk about half those, but I'd recommend it, and I would encourage you to research it first. Honestly, if you're thinking about spending, I think it's $60 for the base game and 25-ish for the expansions. They're coming out with the second one soon. I might have to do a thing about that. But yeah, do your research. I say that with everything though, and don't take my word for it. Look up other people's reviews, or maybe I can even get my roommates to say a word or two. Some Bet Reps approves. I think it takes a certain mindset to really get into the game, or you have to know your audience, and by audience I mean your play group, but I think you'll generally like it if you're into some more serious board games. It's kind of like Catan mixed with Terra Mystica, mixed with, I don't know, a little bit of Blood Rage with area control in there. Well, thanks for watching. One last thing, so every game should have this. It makes it infinitely more fun, but Scythe comes with an achievement sheet. So, hey look, we got a lot of names and dates on here, but every time someone wins with a thing, or mostly winning, lots of winning, but sometimes it can be where is it? Lots of winning. There's I swear there's one. Oh, here. Get 6 stars but not win. Yeah, this is amazing. Every time something happens, you write your name down. It's immortalized forever on this piece of paper, which doesn't sound like much, but it's a hoot, and I wish every game did this. Half the fun is just trying to see what you can pull off.